Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 228 of the Dudes and Beer podcast. I am Chris Jordan, your host. Before we get into the topic this evening, please don't forget, Dudes and Beer is now brought to you by Amazon's Audible. If you are a fan of books like I am, but just don't have time to thumb a page anymore, Amazon Audible is what you need. Thousands of books on there, tons of categories, tons of books, tons of topics, tons of authors. Go on by, check it out. audibletrial.com/dudes is the link that you want to use. You will get a free 30-day trial of Amazon's Audible. It's great. You'll love it. Guaranteed. Go on by, check it out. Once again, that is audibletrial.com/dudes. With me tonight is my fantastic and awesome wife, Amy Jordan, host of the Yes But Why podcast on our HC Universal Network. Our guest this evening is an amazing individual. I've had the opportunity to have a couple of phone calls with him. His name is Artie Hoffman. He is an angelic messenger. He is a psychic medium, and he is host of the Facebook Live show, Angels and Answers. Welcome to the show today, Artie. How are you doing?
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me. Yeah, I'm doing great. Life is keeping me busy as hell, but it's a good thing. And but no, I'm happy to be here. So always happy to help spread the word on. I call it common sense with spirituality.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's exactly what we love talking about on this show is spirituality, getting beyond the bounds of religion, getting more into what connects us as people, what connects us to the universe, to the world around us. Go ahead and explain to our audience a little bit about how you came to have the gift of mediumship and angelic messaging, and exactly what it is that you do in your counseling with this, Artie.
Well, I just want to explain to everybody, because not everybody understands what a medium is. A medium is someone who communicates to people who have passed away, people who are dead. I'm also a psychic. A psychic is someone who could, predict the future, who sees the future, I'm very good at telling people what's going on with circumstances in their life. People who think that they're open, they're really not open. In other words, when I go reading them, sometimes I can't start seeing it right away. So when I read people, a lot of times it's my intuitiveness, like when I hold their hands. Now, I also do phone reading, so obviously I'm not going to hold your hand, but just on the sound of your voice vibrations, I just get random messages. I'm not on 24/7, so I have friends that are on 24/7 with their psychic ability or mediumship. These people who choose to be like that suffer from depression most of the times because they're picking up on everyone else's energy, and it has nothing to do with them, but yet they're so empathetic that they're picking up on everybody else's crap. So, and I choose not to do that. So I'm off all the time until I want to turn it on, then I'm on, and I just have to do it just by thought, just literally asking the angels within my thoughts, and they deliver messages to me. It could be by way of audible. It could be way of they send pictures in my mind or video in my mind. A lot of times I get messages in songs, so I'll start to hear a song in my head. So whatever that song is about, that's what's going on with the person.
And
so
was this something that you have had your whole
life?
Was it something that came to you later through practice, through honing? How was it that you came across the gift, Artie?
Well, I didn't get this gift until I was about 27 years old. And, growing up as a kid, I always wanted to become a therapist. I always thought that would be cool being a therapist because I'm a people person. I like people, and I feel like I have a good common sense about dealing with people's issues. But going through school, I was never a scholastic person. I wasn't that great at school. Anything beyond common sense or just bare necessities, I had a struggle to get through school, and, the angels give me messages. So I tell people it was a lot like high school. If I wasn't getting messages from my friends or getting messages from elsewhere, I wasn't passing. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing with my psychic ability. If the angels or the spirit guides are not feeding the information, then we're not passing. But they're there. Your loved ones who passed away, they'll send me messages. My mom passed away. Both my parents passed away. But when my mom passed away, I think it was about 5, 6 years ago, 2012. So when she passed away, what I used to do, and I still do every once in a while, I'll bring her picture with me. So who's ever sitting in front of me, even if it's by phone, if my energy isn't there, or just if I'm in a playful mood, I'll look at my mother's picture, and then she'll start telling me all about you, even though you never met my mother. But when you're in the spiritual world, everybody knows everyone's business. There are no secrets. Everybody is glass. Everyone's glass. So my mom could see, or any of my friends, anybody who's over on the other side, could see clearly on anybody's future or what's going on. So being that my mom I was very close with, so I look at her picture, I said, Mom, what's going on with this person? And then she starts sending me thoughts and messages, and then I tell the people, my mom said this and my mom said that. And he said, well, tell your mom she's right. So when I was, so here I am, I'm in school. And like I said, I wanted to become a therapist. And like I said, I didn't have the scholastic patience or the money to go for that kind of schooling. So, so I ended up starting my own other business that I've had for 37 years. And it's really funny because the name of my window cleaning power washing business is called Peeping Tom's Window Cleaning. So I've had that business now for 37 years, and I've been reading people now for over 30 years. And I've read for over 29,000 people in my life since I started. So wow. Here I am at 27 years old. I did not have the gift. Now, when I was in my teens and early 20s, and I used to go see psychic readers every once in a while, and people would say to me, Art, you have the gift. You have the gift. You could do with what I do. I said, yeah. I can't see shit. I can't see anything. All I wanted to know was about my love life or my business life, or am I going to be famous? Am I going to be rich? What's going on? And so this one lady, she was pretty accurate with me, and she was one of the ones that told me, says, Art, you have the ability to read people. And again, I couldn't appreciate that in the moment. So I said, yeah. And so anyway, so here I am. I'm married at the time, and we have a nice house, nice car, business is going good. Financially, we're fine. We're going on vacations. Her family loves me. My family loves her. Everything's fine. But inside, I was dying inside. Something wasn't right. Like I wasn't happy, even though I had what I had. And I'm having a conversation. I felt very unfulfilled, even with all what I had. And I'm having a conversation with God when I'm sitting in my basement, my home office. It was a finished basement. And I said, God, I need answers. I need clear answers. And please don't scare the hell out of me when you give me these answers. So anyway, so with that, I walk upstairs and I'm in the kitchen and I see my junk mail. And I usually just take the junk mail and throw it in the garbage. And for some reason this time I'm sifting through the junk mail, and I see this postcard, and it said, how would you like to develop your psychic ability and intuitiveness? Go to the Edgar Casey Foundation in Virginia Beach.
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, I didn't know you could learn how to do this. I figured either you had it or you didn't. So I said, I might want to try this. And when I say just for the fun of it, just to see if I could do it, I wasn't looking at like this was the answer to my prayers at all. I mean, that was the furthest thing from my mind, And so I asked my wife, who was my wife at the time, I said, this looks interesting. You want to go with me? She goes, I don't give a crap about that. She goes, you can go if you want. I'm not interested. So I went.
Huh.
And so I traveled up to Virginia Beach and by myself. And there was about 50 people in this one large room. And they taught you how to open up your heart and mind to be 100% unconditional with your thoughts and your feelings. And they played this beautiful music, and they were talking in a beautiful, monotone, beautiful spiritual way of speaking, and it got everybody in that zone. You could feel the good energy, the love in the air, literally. And so anyway, so they broke us up into groups, and they said, all right, whoever you're with, whatever you get from the person, just share it. Don't judge it, just share it, and see what happens. So I was telling people my thoughts, and people were telling me how accurate I was. And I was shocked that I was able to tell people things about their life who I never met before. And this was like discovering gold, this platinum. I just was like, oh, my God, I can't believe I could do this. And so I got really excited about this weekend, and it helped. And my heart and mind was definitely open, and my spirituality was more open. So I went home and I bought myself a deck of spiritual cards. And I was reading for people, my friends and family, for probably about the next, few years, just for the fun of it. And people, again, were telling me how accurate I was. And I was just blown away, because even though, like, these words are coming out of my mouth, I feel like I was just blowing smoke up people's ass. I was just telling them just to tell them stuff. It's like, what am I going to say to these people? I would just say stuff that whatever came to the top of my head. Well, it turns out that just about everything I said came true. And I'm like, really? That happened? So, and I still feel amazed by it. And even after all these people I've read, and, I just got a testimonial email from somebody just before you called me up today. And, and the lady who I read for the other day, and I said, there's something about your foundation. I said, there's some cracks with your foundation that you're going to need to get fixed. Something's not right with your foundation of your house. And so she just emailed me, and she says, Art, she goes, we have an inspector here at my house because they're selling their house. And so I had him check the basement and the foundation of the house. And she goes, guess what? You were right. He found 2 major cracks in the foundation of our house that we need to get fixed. She goes, you were right on with that. So I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, when I tell you I feel blessed, I feel so blessed. Now, I have friends who have died and come back, from a near-death experience. And they were born with, and they had the gift. I have other friends who were literally born with the gift. And I wasn't born with the gift, and I didn't have a near-death experience. I just went for this fluke. That's what I call it, a fluke of a training. And I do believe everything is meant to be. So I didn't get any college degrees, and I'm a medical intuitive. I do tell people what's going on inside their bodies. If I feel a sickness or something, I've been pretty accurate. Even for pets, I've been known to be pretty accurate with that too. And, so in my book, I wrote a book called Angels and Answers, and if you go to artiehoffman.com, there's a link to Amazon, and you could get my book, and it explains about spirituality through the eyes of common sense. It's a very simplistic book, and it's a common sense of spirituality. And you're going to go, oh my God. So it's like you have all these feelings about yourself, or you have your feelings about God or about life itself. And I was able to channel and take your feelings and put them into words. And it's like, wow, this really makes sense. So there's a bunch of little chapters in there to explain about the common sense of life from spiritual eyes. And I also have 12 angels and saints in there that explains about what each purpose is of the angels and the saints. And there's more than that, but I picked 12 of them. And so it's a really cool book. So in my book, I tell people I went to college for 2 years to the University of Boston in Maryland, but that was just to visit my friend. So.
And I definitely went down that road for quite a few years, just visiting friends at college.
I'm going to have to say that there's a couple people who I legitimately thought went to college with us. Turned out they didn't go.
Yeah.
They were just hanging out. But I was like, oh, I thought you were in whatever, man. College is hanging out as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how much school really is, Sorry, college.
Well, and
oh, man.
Yeah.
let's get into a little bit of the common sense spirituality that you're talking about, because a lot of people would be confused, Artie, whenever you start talking about angels and assume the fact that you were talking about 100% Christian or Catholic theophacy here, some kind of utterly religious based spirituality, and that is not necessarily the case, correct?
Right. Religion is supposed to be a bridge to get you to that place of spirituality. And unfortunately, religion a lot of times doesn't do that. Now, as Deepak Chopra would say, religion is other people's experience. Spirituality is your own individual experience.
Yes. Yeah, and the way my spiritual director put it to me was the religion is what you do in a place with people of like faith. Spirituality is what you do and how you take that message into the rest of the world.
Right, exactly. And it makes no difference prayer is very important. It really is. But when you pray to God, God doesn't need our prayers.
No.
So whether you go to church or temple once a week, once a day, once a month, once a year, once in a lifetime, it's not for the purpose of God needs for us to pray to him. Mm-mm. We need to pray for our own sake, to help ask God for his love, for his guidance, and also our angels. People like to pray to angels and saints or your spirit guides, and they will pull through too. Now, everybody is born with at least 2 guardian angels with them 24/7. They were with you throughout your entire life. Even after you pass away, they're still with you for a certain period of time. So, but the only time an angel could intervene into your life to assist you, you have to ask them. So there was a speaker that I once heard who said it beautifully, and she said, there's a lot of unemployed angels out there because most of us don't realize that the only way we could manifest in our life or manifest better, more efficiently, or quicker in our life, and it could be about prosperity, love, health, education, whatever it is you want. You ask your angels, and this is what I say every day. I call upon all my loving guardian angels. This is my prayer every day that I say now. I call upon all my loving guardian angels. Thank you very much for intervening into my life today. Thank you for blessing me with harmony, peace, serenity, and balance. Thank you for all your unconditional love and all the prosperity that the world has to offer me. In the name of the Holy, and thank you for protecting me and my friends and my family. In the name of the Holy Spirit, amen. And I let it go. Now, I have circumstances going on in my life every single day. Like, sometimes it's hairy and other times it's calming. But it's like there are things that go on in my life where I overloaded my schedule and I go, oh my God, how am I possibly going to accommodate all this? Well, I got news for you. All of a sudden, I get people canceling. Like today, I was overloaded in my evening schedule, and thank God, one of my clients needed to reschedule. And I said, "Oh wow, that was fantastic," because I don't like to disappoint anybody and just cancel on somebody if I don't have to. I rather, if I'm overly stressed, I'll have to reschedule. But on the most part, I try not to. But the only time an angel can intervene into your life when you don't ask them to is if you're in a do or die situation and it's not your time to die, they will come in to save you. But if it's your time to go, it's your time to go, and an angel can't save you. Now, the reason for this is because God gave everybody free will. So God loves you unconditionally regardless of your choices. Even if you kill somebody, if you steal from somebody, if you hurt somebody, whatever, he loves you unconditionally. but it doesn't mean that you still won't deal with consequences to your actions.
That's right.
Everything has a cause and effect, but it's not that God's punishing you. It has a natural cause and effect. And a perfect example is that if you put your fist through a window because you're really angry and you break the window and your hand and your arm's all cut up and you're bleeding to death, you're saying, oh, God punished me. No, you jackass. That was a natural cause and effect to your action.
Yeah. You punched your way through a sheet of glass. You may just cut yourself.
But it's the same thing with life. So if you steal from somebody, if you hurt somebody or whatnot, there will be a cause and effect. Maybe not in that moment, but later on down the road, trust me, you're going to pay for it. So when people think that other people have gotten away with murder or with, bad situations, no, you haven't. You are going to experience what you've put out there. So the most religious, spiritual thing that anyone could ever do is be kind to your fellow man and to be the best person you could be. It's even stronger than prayer, or I should say just as strong as prayer. Now, I always say, people say, what religion are you? And I'm Jewish. I came from a Jewish background. And I say, the best religion is the religion that works best for you. So whether you're born again, whether you're Christian, whether you're Catholic, whether you're Protestant, Jehovah, whatever, whatever religion makes you feel warm in your heart that you could relate to God, that's the best religion. But to try to project that to other people and to say, if you don't go through Christ, you're never going to get to heaven, and you're not going to, it doesn't make sense, because what's contradicting with that? And listen, I don't look at Jesus as my God or anything, but I'm a big believer in the beauty and the essence of Jesus. I am, even though I'm Jewish. But do I follow, my religion or my spirituality through the eyes of Jesus? No. I ask for as a Jesus Christ, you got to throw me above. No, but I just...
Yeah.
But the thing is, if that what works for you, then it's perfect.
Yep. Yeah, and we really do, as a society as a whole and as a humanity, tend to want to impose our will upon things. We tend to want them to be in a comfortable mode for us.
Right, and the interesting thing is a lot of people say, well, if it's within God's will, then it will happen. Well, no, the truth is, if it's within your will, then God's will is your will, because whether it be good for you or bad for you, if you want someone or something bad enough, if you desire it, right, the difference between wanting and desiring, wanting is just a thought. That's all it is. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be successful. I want to be married. I want to do this. I wanted to do that. A lot of people call me up and say, Artie, am I ever going to meet somebody? Well, in my psychic abilities, I say, well, let's see. You just go from work to home, work to home, work to home. You never go out and you just take care of your kids. Is that correct? Yes. Well, what the hell, you ask me, is anyone going to come into your life? You don't even make room for it.
Yeah.
So you want the relationship, but you don't desire it, because your actions, desire, are your thoughts put into actions that will create your results. So everything you have in your life right now, whether you like it or not, everything you have in your life right now, you've desired, because all your actions created exactly what you have in your life right now.
Yeah. And that's a concept that we talk about on the show very frequently, Artie, is the concept of manifestation, and the idea that we all, at least if you start going through ancient traditions, and it's weird because society in and of itself, and the three major religions all claim the same spiritual father, Abraham. We all have just about the same teaching on angels. It's really strange, but at the same time, they are like didactically opposed against each other. And that's our humanity. That's it's our want to impose will, despite the fact that the general teachings of all three faiths are the same. I
just want to say, regardless of what it is that you're doing in life, whether it be prayer, whether it be work, whether it be relationships, everything is based on what your intentions are behind your actions.
That's right.
So to give you an example, so there are a lot of people who are religious and say that what I do is the devil's work or what I do is wrong or evil. And there are people who do what I do who use it to manipulate people, which is wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I don't use it to manipulate people. I use it to help people. And so, you know, and over the years, over the 31 years that I've been doing this, I have helped heal an awful lot of people emotionally, physically, or whatever. And I tell people who think like this, I say, well, if you're saying that what I do is the devil's work, then I need to shake his hand and thank him.
Yeah.
Because he's really helped me. He's really helped me heal an awful lot of people. So again, you know, it's what your intentions are and the purity of your heart is what makes something right or wrong. So a perfect example. So you have your wife, Amy, you know, she's right by your side.
Yeah.
And that's the love of your life. That's who it is. So if you hug her and kiss her, all right, that's a very beautiful thing, and vice versa. If I hug her and kiss her in the same fashion, it's not right because the intentions are different.
Hey, man.
Mm-hmm.
The intentions are totally different.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make it right. But I'm mimicking your actions, but it's not right because of the circumstances. Well, that's the same thing with every aspect of life. It depends what your intentions are behind your actions is what makes something right or wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're feeling guilty about something really bad, where everybody else is doing the same thing, but to them it's great, then it's great for them. But hey, listen, it could be shitty for you because, like, take Mormons. You know, Mormons. It's totally acceptable in Utah or wherever Mormons are, where the guys have 4 wives, and everyone's agreeable. And guess what? It works, and it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it because everyone, there's full trust and understanding with that way of living. To other people, it's to your understanding that you and your wife, you're in a monogamous relationship, and that's your understanding. So if somebody is stepping out of that understanding between the two of you, that's what makes it wrong.
Yeah.
It's not right. But if you have an understanding of an open relationship or however you choose, for that couple, it's 100% right because you're honest about it and it's truthful, so it works for you.
And that is extraordinarily well said. So many times, one of my favorite phrases I've come to use over the last year or so is, stay in your backyard. Like, unless somebody is encroaching on your backyard and ruining your world, why would you go out of your way to do something to somebody else? And
it's because it's revenge. It's just anger, and that's the ego world, and that's the, if you want to call it, the dark side or the devil in you or whatnot. You know. And is it right? It's not right, but that's your ego taking over, that I need to get revenge on someone or even the person who attacked you, you know? So,
and it's interesting that you bring that up because, one of the things that my brain was rabbit holing on just a minute ago, whenever we were, sorry, my brain goes into little journeys, while we talk about things, Artie. And one of them was we were talking just a second ago about the concept of manifestation, and I'm a big believer. We've talked about it a lot on this show about how the universe is physics. It does nothing without your push of energy behind it. It is not a zero-sum game. You cannot expect a result without putting something into the system. And earlier you made the mention of all you have to do is ask your angels. One of the many things that's...
I need to say something.
Go ahead.
I need to say, when you ask your angels for help, at that moment, you need to have blind faith and you need to let go of control and you need to stop worrying and obsessively worrying or being nervous, because that means you're getting in the way in the work of your angels helping you out, because you're trying to control the situation, or you have to have blind faith. So that's what they say, get out of your own way.
Yep.
So once you ask God or you ask the angels to please assist you, once you do that, you need to let it go and just live your life and say, listen, if things blow up in my face, it is what it is. And as soon as you let it go, you're going to see that circumstances beyond what you could even imagine, things will end up working out in your favor.
Well, and I couldn't...
Because
Go ahead.
spirituality could break all the laws of physics.
Yeah, and the main thing is you really have to drop your preconceived notion of what your answer is, because what you want may not be what is best for you. It may not be what the universe or God or destiny has fated for you. And you kind of need to accept that. Like you said, you need to release control in this situation. And that's really the hardest thing to do. One of the things that came to my mind a while ago, like I said, was talking about the angels and asking things. One of the things that stories have talked about for years, especially when it comes to angels, the jinn, things like that, is Solomon, the work of Solomon, what he did, and the fact that he actually had command over the angels. To have them do his bidding, to have him do his service. And like you said, a lot of people would consider that high magic. Some people would consider that the devil's work.
Can I tell you a really funny story with what you just said?
Go ahead.
So, all right. So I'm not with my daughter. I have one daughter, Rebecca, who's 27. But when she was about 6 years old, I wasn't with her mother at that time. So we had, she would visit me on the weekends, yada, yada, yada. So she goes, so I'm explaining to her about spirituality, a little bit about the angels. I said, honey, you have angels, and if you need help with anything, just ask your angels and they'll help you, And so anyway, a day or two goes by and her mother calls me up and her mother goes, Artie, what's all this angel crap you're feeding Rebecca? I go, what are you talking about? She goes, I just asked her. She goes, I just asked her to make sure she does her homework. And she says, I don't have to. I just asked my angels to do it for me.
And what's hilarious is whenever I used to teach religion and spirituality years ago, is that's how I compared people's loss of faith was, it's hard for you if you think that you're going to pray your way out of geometry. You've got another thing coming. God wants you to study your geometry. He wants you to be able to unravel that mystery of the universe, okay?
He can only assist you as you're assisting yourself.
Exactly. He's only going to give you a leg up. He ain't going to pull the cart the whole way for you, buddy.
So if somebody comes to me, and says, Art, what do you see for my business? And I say, you know what? Your business is going to really flourish. And I could see you becoming a millionaire and very successful at it. And they'll go, oh, so just because I said that, if they stop doing everything that they're supposed to do, what helps create them, to be doing their business, if all of a sudden they sit on their ass and they're becoming a couch potato, or they say, well, I don't have to worry because I already said I want to become a millionaire. No, you still have to do the work of how you're doing your business and your life for that to manifest. So based on the energy in the now, based on the chemistry in the now, based on your projection in the now, this is what I see happening. So, I do make predictions with people. And there are times where, there are certain things come hell to high water. You're going to deal with something, whether you like it or not. And I'm just preparing you for something that you're going to have to deal with. But then there are times where I make predictions where you don't even have to experience what I'm about to tell you because you have a choice. Now what I just said to you, each individual has its own merit, so some things are avoidable. So psychically, I'll say, you're going to go through this, whether you like it or not. So prepare yourself for the storm. But then there are times where I say, you know what? I see it's going to rain outside tomorrow, so you better bring your umbrella. But then there are times where I'll say, you know what? I wouldn't go down that road if I were you because there's going to be problems. So if you really want to go there, so suppose you want to go to Las Vegas, you want to go to Atlantic City, and I said, no, don't go there because you're going to end up losing your shirt and you're going to end up doing this or that or someone's going to rob you, whatever. And they go, yeah, but I want it so bad. I still want to gamble. I still want to, they just, so they could do it. They could either stay behind or they could push it. So I'm going to give you a really, really interesting story.
Please.
100% true story. A girl comes into my place. All right. I live in Woodbridge, New Jersey. A girl comes into my place and she's covered from head to toe with tattoos. Not my cup of tea, but that's okay. Her whole body's covered with tattoos. So she said to me, she goes, you know something, Art? She goes, every single day for the last 2 years, I would think about you as soon as I woke up. Now, I'm flattered, and I'm thinking, all right, so this girl's into me. Even though she is, I'm not into her in that way, but I was very flattered that she said that. And I'm saying, okay. So I'm like laughing, smiling. I won't say laughing, but I'm smiling within myself. I'm saying, all right, why are you thinking me for the last 2 years? Do I make you horny, baby? No. So I said, why was this? He goes, you read for me 2 years ago, and you held my hand. And as soon as you held my hand, you heard a song in your head, and you started singing AC/DC, Highway to Hell. I'm going to Highway to Hell. You sang that, and you looked at me, and you said, if I don't stop doing what I'm not supposed to be doing, because you saw me doing something that I shouldn't be doing, you said, if I don't stop doing my ways of how I was doing things, I was going to get caught and I was going to get thrown in jail. And she goes, and I didn't listen to you. And 1 week later, I was doing something I should not have been doing. And I got caught and I got put in jail for 2 years.
Wow.
And she said, every day I woke up and I said, why didn't I listen to Artie? So, like I said, there are times, there's also times where I'll read for somebody and like 1 or 2 days later, they'll get in a car accident or there'll be a blow up. And they'll say to me, Artie, why didn't you tell me about that? You just read for me. What kind of a psychic are you? And I said, well, then you were meant to go through that experience. I didn't see it. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I didn't see it. So you were meant to go through that. And then there are other people who'll say, Artie, why didn't you see it? Why didn't you tell me? And I would tell them, I told you I was psychic. I didn't say I was a good psychic. I just told you I was psychic.
Yeah. well, and the one thing that people, a lot of people, unfortunately, misclassify prophet to begin with, much less put psychics into that realm. And
a psychic is kind of a prophet
to an extent, yes, because
to an extent, yeah,
because the psychic is giving you the option out. Like you said, if you keep doing this, you will end up here. And that's the difference between a prophet and a scry. Like a lot of people unfortunately put Nostradamus into the realm of prophet. None of his quatrains or visions ever gave an option out. There wasn't if you stop doing this, this won't happen. Just like you told her, if you continue down the path you're on, you will end up here.
Right.
And, and even if you see something for somebody doesn't necessarily mean that an action that they make later, a decision that they make later down the line wouldn't lead toward a different fork. Something along those lines as well. May I
ask a question?
Absolutely.
Yes, lady in the corner.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Anyway, I wanted to ask you about the 2 guardian angels for each person. Where does that come from? Like, where does that idea come from? Is it something that you read, or is it something that the spiritual world told you? How is that particular detail come to you?
I've heard from a few people who, I 100% believe that. There's no doubt in my mind. I feel it. I sense it. But there are people, like when I started having a very strong thirst for needing to know more about God, about spirituality, about life here and also on the other side, there were many people who are very highly evolved spiritually, who have said exactly what I just said to you. that there are guardian angels around you that you were born with and that they are with you all the time. And it is their only job is to serve you. That is their only job in this lifetime is to serve you and to do nothing else. But you need to ask them. They can't just do things just to take over to make the quality of your life better or worse. They can't do that. But it's through your thoughts, and it's like, oh, God, please help me. See, just by you verbalizing, words are very important. So when you verbalize your thoughts, like, oh, I wish it could be positive or negative. So that's why they say be careful what you ask for. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you an example. It's very important to ask very specifically on what you want. So if you're looking for a home and say, oh, God, please help me find a home. Please help me find a home by such and such a date. Please help me find a home. I need a home by this date because I'm starting a new job and I did da. So when you ask for a home, how I would ask for a home is, God, please find me a beautiful home that is healthy and that I could comfortably afford. Not just a home, because I don't want a home that's a piece of crap, that's dilapidated, that's haunted, that's got problems. I'm going to have bad neighbors. So when you're asking for whatever it is you're asking, ask for a way of harmony and beauty and balance and beauty, within spirituality. You want to ask for good quality of what it is you're asking for. Oh, God, please send me somebody. I don't want to be alone. So you get a partner in your life, and it turns out they're going to suck the life out of you, or they're going to steal from you, or they're going to cheat on you.
Yeah.
So when you ask for a partner in life, and I say this in a lot of my sessions to people who are looking for love, and I said, you want to draw the good energy, and you have to feel that you're worthy. You have to give yourself that self-love and appreciation that you're deserving of such a quality relationship. And you are deserving so long as you feel it and you ask for it. You don't have to say, oh, I don't know, I've never had it before. Well, guess what? You're allowed to change things like overnight if you want. It's by changing your thoughts and your actions. Because I say, you ask for one thing, but your actions are doing another thing. So I tell people, if you want to make vanilla cake, you can't make it with chocolate ingredients. So if you want what you say you want, your actions need to pull through. And a lot of times when people are going after what they want, there's a lot of inconvenience when you're going through a transition in life. Yeah. So if you want to get out of your job that's paying you well, but you can't stand the people, it's paying you well, but you can't stand the people, or it's too far to travel, or you're in a relationship that you can't stand, but yet because of the kids, because of financial reasons or emotional codependency, or for whatever reason. But so move out of it. Yeah, but the family's going to come down and I don't want the kids to get hurt. Well, yeah, there's going to be inconveniences while you're going through a transition. But if you want to experience the rainbow, you're going to have to experience the rainstorm. So you can't not go after what it is you want just because there's going to be some challenges. But that's when you ask your angels to help guide you to bring beautiful new situations into your life. Open up new doors for me, please. And thank you for bringing me beautiful people and wonderful people into my life as I start new chapters in my life. But you don't have to keep on reliving your past of your previous yesterdays, yester weeks, yester months, yester years. You don't have to keep on bringing that into your today. You could put a close to it and say enough is enough. And this is known as self-respect, self-love, self-honor, and you need to give that to yourself. So when you're asking for that person in your life, I say, dear God, thank you for bringing someone who is very loving, someone who's a great communicator, someone who's honest, someone who's loyal, someone who's funny, someone who has good family values, somebody who I'm very sexually attracted to, somebody who's a good financial provider, somebody who's self-sufficient emotionally and financially, somebody who could love me and support me as much as I could love and support them. Somebody who likes to travel, somebody who's spiritual, somebody who's smart, somebody who's strong, somebody who's healthy. And thank you, they're available. Nothing like attracting the right person and they're not available. So ask for what it is that you want.
Yeah.
But be specific. And if you get 7 or 8 out of the 10 or 12 out of the 15 or 16, kudos to you. But don't be afraid to ask, and then let God and the angels create the scenario. And you will be at the right place at the right time. But you're not allowed to pray. A lot of people pray in negativity,
Yep.
and they draw negativity to them. So what I mean by that is like, oh God, I don't want to be old, alone, and poor. So by you saying that, you are going to grow up old, alone, and poor because you're putting it out there.
Yeah.
So what you want to say is, thank you for bringing me a beautiful person into my life who I could grow with, and that I could grow financially comfortable and live a happy, comfortable life and a retired life and have a beautiful. Thank you. Only say what you do want, because if you talk negativity, they block out all the I don't want, and they only look at the action word. Mm-hmm. The universe only looks at the action word, because if your fear is greater than your desire, then that's what you're going to experience. So your desire needs to be greater than your fears, and that's what you'll experience.
Beautifully said, Artie.
You seem really great at relationship advice. Is that something that you do a lot of focus on?
I do. See, that's what I mean. So within my book, I explain about the common sense of life and spirituality.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? By like common sense? Is the common sense the like way in which you explain it in your book, or is the common sense like it's, common meaning like what you think it is, it probably is, but here's a little explanation with it? Or I don't know. I'm probably messing it up.
Put it this way, life is much simpler than what people make it to be. If you want to live a happy, quality life, the secret to life, there's 2 secrets to life I live by. Keep it simple. Keep life simple. All right? Not every single relationship in your life, it's not necessary to hang on to every single relationship in your life if they're not making you happy. There are certain people that are in your life for a good time, and there's certain people in your life for a lifetime. Certain people are in your life just for a lesson, and then there are certain people that you can grow with. But it's not necessarily necessary to hang on to every single relationship in your life, whether it be friends, family, coworkers, anybody. But if they're not going in conjunction with making you feel good, then let them go and attract new people into your life. And a lot of times we make our friends our family because we don't get along with our family. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, don't get along with your family. So I love them. I just don't like them, But you want to get to a place that all the people in your life, you want to like them. And, those people who, they're nice people. I really don't have anything against them, but they're not my cup of tea. So those people you keep as acquaintances. You don't have to hang curtains with them. You don't have to go to bed with them. You don't have to, be buddy and lock elbows with them. They're acquaintance friends,
Totally. Yeah, you don't have to go on a week-long vacation with them.
Yeah, like coworkers. Like, they're real fun on Wednesday at noon, but I'm not talking to them at night or in the weekends.
Yeah, there are certain people, and there are certain friends that you really do enjoy being with, like who you would, go to lunch with. There are friends that you tell all your, your stories to. There are friends who you would go on vacation with. There are friends that you are friends with just because of the kids, or friends that because you're more of a couples type of friend, or friends that have to do with work or about, there's different friends with different purposes. And if you were to put all your friends in one room, look at the weird chemistry that everybody else would have, You have your book nerds, and you have your cool people, you have your motorcycle people, you have your religious people. Yeah, but they're all your friends, but it's like, damn, I can't imagine everyone being in one place at one spot and getting along,
That's why Facebook's super weird.
Yeah.
Well, and with that in mind, Artie, how, as a counselor, what is the easiest way that because I at one point had a therapist tell me what you need to do, Chris, is learn to realize there's a train there. you can't do anything about the train. You could try to, but you'd probably hurt yourself. All you can do is sit there and watch a train go by. That's it. You can rest easy with the fact that eventually the train will be done and you'll go along your way.
All right, so what he means by that,
what
he means by that is that there are situations in your life, whether you like it or not, you have to come to a place of acceptance.
Yes.
So that's what it means. So you might not like it, but you need to accept it.
That's right.
You need to accept the person for who they are and not just what you want them to be. Or you might not like the situation, but for the now, you need to learn to accept it. But the biggest killer that hurts a lot of people is that a lot of people set themselves up with expectations.
Exactly.
And it's the expectation is what screws you over. But as soon as you come to a place of acceptance for what that moment has to offer you, then you'll be totally fine.
Exactly.
You'll be totally fine with it because it's just so that's what he means by that. When the train goes by, you might have missed it or whatever the reason is, but it's about what is the healthiest thing that you could do while you're in that moment. Because guess what? Well, it could have been this. It should have been this. If you were only earlier, if you only had a few more bucks, guess what?
That's not what it is.
Could have, would have. It doesn't mean jack crap. It's only what you have in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only what you have in the moment.
It took me a long
it's
time.
About making the best of the situation.
Yeah, and it took me a long time to get to the point where I realized that me doing all of that me being mad at myself for not leaving 2 minutes earlier, for me not taking a left instead of going straight, that all of that was an utter waste of energy that did nothing. It accomplishes nothing.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because I always tell people, but it's not always the problem that's the problem.
That's right.
It's the perception of how you're dealing with it.
Yeah.
And if you put more energy into the solution and stop focusing on just what the problem is, we already know what the problem is, whatever the problem is. We already know that the problem exists. Now, rather than wasting all the energy bitching about it, what are you going to do about it to make things better? And sometimes there's nothing you could do about it, so there's a place of acceptance. So either you could try to compromise with the person or the situation, or you back away totally.
Yep. Yeah. And that's just it. And you reserve your energy for yourself. You work on yourself more so that the next time that situation comes up, maybe you can be more open to the situation. And I literally just posted this today on social media, talking about how the issue with our society right now is that we have a large, gaping, bleeding wound. Nobody is performing triage and trying to treat the wound. We're all pointing at it and talking about how the wound got there and blaming people for the wound. Nobody is performing triage, paying attention to what's actively happening and what we can do to solve the situation. And that's exactly what we do in our own lives. So frequently and so sadly. It is what leads to utter depression. It is what leads to the opioid crisis in our country. It is what leads to rampant drug use. It is what leads to cheating in relationships, to bad relationships, to not even knowing what a healthy relationship or healthy friendship is, Artie. It is so much at the root of everything.
Certainly right now, culturally.
Always. And it is literally learning to reserve that energy for when it's necessary. You know, there's a reason why our fight or flight mechanism exists, and it is for survival. It is for those moments that when we need it. And unfortunately, we are put on the edge so much in our society that we are constantly in a state of fight or flight. We're constantly in that state of confusion. And it just leads us down bad places. We don't take the time to stop and pause. We don't take the time while the train's there to just go, yep, it's a train. Man, I sure do love my kid. You know, like use that time while the train's going by instead of being pissed about the train to think about something positive. To think
it's
about
hard
something
because,
that you
again,
love. It really is a rewiring of your whole
happens,
system,
right?
Artie.
It's a perception. Yeah, it's a perception. And it's like when people are fixated on what it is that they want or what they expected, you know, when you become so zealous about something, you know, put it this way. I just was told this story today. One of my friends was telling me the story, how he got these tickets from somebody on Craigslist to go to a concert, and his friends were going to the concert, and he bought the tickets for him and his girlfriend, and he surprised her with them. And so he met the guy in the city, and the guy gave him the tickets, and he was all stoked, and he was with his friends, and they got the tickets, and they're going to see this concert, to find out the tickets that he bought, they were no good.
Oh, man.
And there was nothing he could do about it, and
Yeah.
it totally killed his spirit. You know, and it's about adjusting. And, you know, so either you can remain angry about it, and he had every right to be pissed.
Sure.
You can remain angry about it forever, or you could just say, well, that sucks. But you know what? At least we have each other, and at least we could, you know, do plan A or do plan B or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So, and that's all you got.
Since you're a particular expert in the relationship, I wondered if you had any advice, even though you've talked to us for 30 seconds, for me and my husband. We are in our 40s and have a 2-year-old baby, just to give you a reference of what our life is like. But I just wanted to ask you, it sounds like you talk to a lot of single people who are concerned about finding love, which is a tough time. I always try to remember that. I try to like keep that, because I have so many single friends that like I remember that time and being like, yeah, man, it's tough. But I'm in a different place now. Do you often give advice to married people? And if so, what early parenting advice might you have for us? Even generally, even if like you've talked to us for such a short time.
Yeah. Keep your sense of humor.
That's just good advice altogether for life.
How's that for summing it up?
It's perfect.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I like
Absolutely.
Stop taking life so personally, and stop taking life so seriously all the time. And that's one of the main secrets to life. I want to apologize to you. I mean, I know I consumed like just about like 95% of the conversations when I get on the roll, you know, and I'm usually more conscientious about going back and forth with you know, when I'm on a program. But sometimes when I get on a roll, you know, it's like comedy. When you're on a roll, it's hard to stop.
No, you're perfect.
But we
wanted to know information, and so it's great that you shared stuff about what you're doing, and we were very fascinated. I didn't mean to put you on the spot about a reading at all. I was just like,
oh, you didn't put me on the spot at all.
I was just like, hey, since I get a baby, what should I do? But your advice was perfect, by the way.
Well, and see, a lot of hosts would be upset with that, Artie. I'm not.
I love it.
Mainly because I myself, being someone who taught for a long time, got to the point where I frequently did not remember what I taught when I was done teaching it. It just flowed. I opened up and a channel would occur. The same thing happens with a lot of the music that I write, and I'm understanding of that. So I understand that a lot of what you're saying and the teaching that you're giving is not necessarily coming from you. It is revelations that you've been given. It is things that you have come through divine revelation, through revelation of your gift. And to interrupt that, to me, I think does that gift a disservice.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I was just, I channel, you know, and I didn't know exactly what the topic was that we were going to talk about today, because I don't do protocol like, you know, whenever I'm on a radio show, this is what you know, it depends on the moment, and then I just start talking about the topic or what the people need to hear, and then I just come out with it, and that's that. But I don't mean to sound rude.
No.
But
No.
I got a boogie on out now.
Absolutely. I was just about to wrap things up. Ask you to please hold the line while I close things out. Amy, of course, thank you so much, my love, for always being on.
Thanks, Artie.
Artie, before we end the show and talk to you offline real quick, please do let everybody know where they can go to find your book, Angels and Answers, where they can go to tune into the show that is live, where they can go to get readings from you, and where they can go to get counseling advice, things like that. It is shameless plug time. Do it.
Thank you. If you'd like to have a private reading, whether it be in person or over the phone, I'm in Woodbridge, New Jersey, but over the phone, I'm just as accurate. And I also do Artie parties where I travel to people's homes to do parties and events. I also do fundraisers. I do public speakings. So if you want to get a hold of me for any of my services, or if you'd like to order my book, go to Artie Hoffman, ArtieHoffman, ArtieHoffman.com, because there's a link that you can get my book, Angels and Answers. And I promise you, it's going to open up your eyes majorly, big time. You're going to see your life and life itself through different eyes in a healthy way. Also, you could email me at artiehoffman@gmail.com, or you could call me or text me at 732-778-7173. I'll say it one more time, 732-778-7173. So, and if anything, we'll have a good laugh. If you think my reading might suck, we'll have a good laugh, if anything.
And, or
I'll connect to your loved one and see what your loved ones have to say. So.
Your message has been so absolutely beautiful tonight, Artie, and echoed from so many of our deep, deep spiritual guests, from the religious to the non-religious to even like the founder of the Joseph Campbell Foundation. It's such a universal, beautiful message. To hear anybody say, trust yourself, trust that gut, follow what you're supposed to be doing, what you know is right, and things will work out. So thank you so much for coming on. Please do hold the line for us real quick as we close out. Amy, please do let everybody know where they can go to find the Yes But Why podcast as well.
Please check out the Yes But Why podcast on yesbutwhypodcast.com. Everything is available there, and you can listen to interviews and everything.
All right. And while you're online checking out the great work of Artie Hoffman at artiehoffman.com, as well as Amy and the Yes But Why podcast at yesbutwhypodcast.com, make sure to stop on by the Dudes and Beer podcast. Dudesandbeerpodcast.com is where you can find us. Dudesandbeer.com. Dudesandbeer / Knowledge Vault is where you can find the awesome Knowledge Vault with all the great hidden documents, things people do not want you to know, hidden technology, great patents, all kinds of stuff. While you're on there, also please do check out Diamond CBD with the code DUDES420. You will save 30% on your whole cart. Make sure to check us out on the HC Universal Network as well. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, if you can't be good at it. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Dudes and Beer Podcast. To listen to our audio streams or chat with us live, download the official Dudes and Beer app for Android and iDevices, available on Google Play and iTunes markets. For more episodes, content, and information, visit us online at dudesandbeer.com. You can also find our episodes on Breach.tv, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast service. Dudes and Beer is a proud member of the HC Universal Network family of podcasts. For more about our sponsors and other podcasts on this network, visit hcuniversalnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, Drink responsibly.